Oakley dokley. But it is Saturday morning, and I, for one, intend to learn something.
He cares about truth. I'm just a man who cares about truth.
Like how to use StreamYard. Okay, got to switch my. Oh yeah, that's right. Totally fucked everything up. Yeah, I just don't have the bandwidth for bullshit this morning. I've got too much to do today. But I hope everybody's doing well out there, wherever you are, whatever you do.
So I'm not going to pretend to be a scholar, but I've worked really hard to try to understand this topic, and I think I have something to bring that is worth talking about as far as evidence for the resurrection. And it seems to me that I'm a Christian for two reasons. One, I seem to have had a real genuine experience with God, with a changed life, and with the sense that I'm actually in a relationship with God, revealing things to me. I mean, there's a whole line of reasoning there, but that's not what I'm bringing today. The other reason why I'm a Christian, this really is important to me, is that there's a large amount of external evidence that keeps confirming the truth of Christianity. And I'm talking about philosophy, history, science, prophecy, etc. So while you can believe because of your experiences, there's also support through evidence, and that's what I'm planning to present today. So I'm going to give a two-part case for the resurrection of Christ, why I think it's reasonable to believe Jesus rose, based upon, like I said, two parts. The first part is facts of history. So these are like things that we can say very likely did happen in the first century. In fact, when I say facts, that's what I mean. I mean, these are things that very likely did happen in the first century. We're going to pool these things together and we'll have 12 facts that we can work with. And then the second part is to say, what's the best explanation of these facts? So like detectives will look at the facts and ask, what best explains these facts?
But I really think the most important fact to remember is that the crux of Mike's argument, Mike is arguing for dude dies horrible death and then rises from the dead back to life. So Mike will be arguing for zombie Jesus theory. If you haven't put that together yet.
These facts, and this will be our common ground, hopefully. So let me establish the common ground. That's the first chunk of what I'm doing. That's why I wanted so long, my intro is to establish a large number of facts. So first, let me say this. None of these facts that I'm giving you are miraculous. None of them are miraculous in nature. And they're all well evidenced. There's specific lines of evidence supporting each fact, and historians of all stripes, atheist, agnostic, Jewish, Christian, they generally agree on these facts. There's majority agreement, at minimum, majority agreement, in some cases 99% agreement on these facts of history. So let's go through them. What I'll do right now is I'm going to share my screen, and I want to give you guys the visual of these facts. There we go. You should have it on your screens now. Here's the 12 facts. I know you can't read that, most of you, but I want you to have it as a screenshot. You could slow down and read them. I will summarize them in a much smaller fashion now, like this. Okay, so the first fact is that Jesus died by Roman crucifixion. Bart Ehrman, the atheist, he says this is one of the most certain facts of history, that Jesus was crucified on the orders of Roman prefect of Judea, Pontius Pilate. He offers 11 independent sources to support the death of Christ in this fashion. I could quote atheist after atheist.
So it's not just me here. I think Mike is presenting a blank screen to the audience. Technical difficulties. I'm sure we've all experienced them.
That actually support this idea, who are historians and scholars in their fields. The second fact, if I can get my thing to scroll down, there we go. The second fact is that the
Wait, this is intentional? This is like his bullet points. Death, lost hope. Like that's it. Looks like a chat bubble.
Soon after the crucifixion, the disciples lost hope. They were discouraged, they were bereaved, they were despondent. They thought that everything was over. And there's no wonder, because they saw the death of Christ as proof that the Jewish leaders were right about Jesus, that this guy was obviously from the enemy and not from God. And the impact this would have would be the end of the movement, as it ended every messianic movement in the first century when the guy died. The third fact is that he was buried most likely in a private tomb. This is connected to the fourth fact, which is that Jesus' tomb was found empty soon after his internment. Now, of all the facts I'm going to share with you guys,
Right. So the story says yeah, there's a story in a book, not corroborated by archaeological evidence or any of it, right? Like any of the, major. So it's just the one book. You're placing all your faith in this one book. I can't stress that.
with you guys, these two, the entombment and the empty tomb, are the least supported by scholars. So I'm putting that out there, right? About 75% of scholars will agree with both of these. So there's still majority support, and it's across various worldviews. It's not just Christian or evangelical scholars. But I'm going to build a case for it. So let me give you 6 lines of evidence that support the empty tomb. The first one is this. It's multiply attested. We have it in multiple sources, in Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, as well as pre-Markan accounts, the pre-Markan source material for Mark, sermons and Acts. We have it in that content as well. We have it suggested in the writings of Paul.
Same book. It's all the same book. Like, I don't care if there are different chapters in the book. It's the same fucking book.
So we have multiple sources attesting to this, early sources as well. Number 2, it's enemy attested. We can get into more in this in the back and forth. I just want to get this on the table for discussion. It's enemy attested in Matthew 28. We have the enemies of the Christians, of the early Christians.
Enemy attested? Is that a thing? Well, my enemies agree with me, so it must be true.
What they say about the death of Jesus is that his tomb is empty because it was robbed by the Christians. They stole the body. This continued on into the 2nd century. In Justin Martyr, we hear it. In Tertullian, we hear it. And in Celsus, the critic of Christians, he mocks Christians and says they stole the body. So when the enemy polemic accepts the empty tomb, I think we can say that it's very likely that it happened, which leads us to the third piece of evidence supporting it. There's no competing story. There's no story from the 1st century even suggesting something other than this happened. And we have multiple sources, including enemy attestation, that it did. Number 4, we have the testimony of women. This is more impressive to those who study history more, because it was embarrassing back then. The first people to proclaim the empty tomb were women, yet women were not good witnesses to Jewish or Roman people at the time. So it reads like real history. The women are part of the story because they couldn't get them out of the story. So embarrassing or not, they had to include them in the story of the empty tomb. Richard Bauckham's done really great work in his book, Jesus and the Eyewitnesses, on this as well, that helps support the eyewitness account of the women. Number 5, Joseph of Arimathea seems historical. Joseph of Arimathea is the guy who buried Jesus. He put him in the tomb. He's a member of the Sanhedrin, so he would be known to the people of the time. He's multiply attested in Mark, John, and Luke. He's local to the area.
Fucking book. It's just, they're all different chapters in the same fucking book.
Arimathea was likely 4 to 5 miles northwest of Jerusalem. And so it would have been testable by the people in the area. And it was embarrassing that a Sanhedrin member actually helps Jesus when the disciples have fled. So when people admit embarrassing things, these things are more likely to be true when you're reading a historical account, or anybody's account for that matter. And finally, the 6th reason I'll give for the empty tomb is archaeology. We found 3 kinds of tombs from the time of Christ that have been discovered, and Jesus's tomb fits one of those kinds. In particular, it's the most expensive kind, which was known to be owned by, get this, people like members of the Sanhedrin. Think about this.
Wild.
We have
That's just fucking wild. Good morning. 6 o'clock in the AM. Over here doing my own thing. It gets annoying after a while. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing swimmingly. We're fine. Everything's fine. Everyone's fine here. I woke up in such a good mood. Try to keep this thing going.
we have archaeological verification that the empty tomb story is historical in nature. Jody Magnus, who actually works at the same college as Bart Ehrman, she's an expert on Jewish burial practices. She says the gospel accounts describing Jesus' removal from the cross and burial accord well with archaeological evidence and with Jewish law. So the conclusion is that it's supported by 6 different arguments, and I actually don't know of a good argument to refute the empty tomb. And people I talk to don't know one either, even scholars I've asked. They don't know of a single good argument or evidence-based argument, just ad hoc stuff, but nothing based on evidence like these are. G.H. Van Dalen concludes it's extremely difficult to object to the empty tomb on historical grounds. Those who deny it do so on the basis of theological or philosophical assumptions. You could look at the work of
Like the fact that people don't fucking rise from the dead. Like the fact that it's never happened at any other time in history except when cited in mythology. Like, that's the only fucking time we know of zombie whatever the fuck you call it, like reanimation, right? Is in these old god stories. There's no other, that and sci-fi. Like there's no middle ground there. It's just it's your holy books and science fiction. That's it. it's not, it's not like, so why would I why would I believe it? What are you talking about? Why would I have to disprove like the most insane shit?
look at the work of
He
Bart
rose from the
Ehrman,
dead.
for example, in that. So number 5, let's go to the next one, which is the appearances. The 5th fact I'll say is well evidenced from history is that the disciples had individual and group experiences that they believed were actual appearances of the risen Christ. We have accounts of 2 people seeing Jesus, 7 people, 11, multiple times where the disciples as a group did, 500 at once, according to Paul.
And that's all fine and good. I don't care how many people see Jesus in a slice of toast, right? Don't make it so. It does not make it so. Yeah, I mean they make these claims. That's fine. They can believe that they saw it. That's also fine. I don't have to believe it. And just because it's contained in one fucking book and a few scattered testimonies, maybe, yeah, like everything, all your sources are in the same fucking book.
In 1 Corinthians 15, Paul, he knows these people, and personally he'd visited them, and he's relaying as what was known and said by them all along, that he appeared to Peter, and he appeared to James, and he appeared to the 12. So this is multiple attestation in different sources. In fact, these sources are in and outside the New Testament. We have other early accounts like Clement of Rome, Ignatius, Justin Martyr, that also say, yeah, there were these group appearances, whatever you want to say they were. If you want to call it, they were somehow delusional, but it happened in a group. They all seem to be seeing it, and it convinced them that Jesus rose. Gerd Ludemann, who's an atheist and a lead critic of the resurrection, he says it may be taken as historically certain that Peter and the disciples had experiences after Jesus' death in which Jesus appeared to them as the risen.
Mike does realize that mass delusion is a thing, right? We have verification of mass delusions. Like, people can all hallucinate the same shit at the same time. It's not.
As the risen Christ. Mike Lycona says this conclusion about the appearances is granted by a nearly unanimous consensus of modern scholars and may therefore be added to our historical bedrock. See, this is important because when we talk about possible explanations for these facts, we can rule out hallucinations, because by nature of the fact that hallucinations don't happen in groups like this. And we can actually I can quote sources in our discussion back and forth. Hallucinations just don't happen in groups in this fashion. So this would be difficult to overcome.
False. You're wrong. You're absolutely wrong about that. It does happen. It has happened. We have record of this happening, and this may be just one of such records. Have you ever experimented with LSD? uh, Maybe. Give it a try. Expand your mind, bro.
Let's add another one. Due to the experiences, the disciples' lives were thoroughly transformed. These appearances, they transformed their lives, even being willing to die for the belief that they had seen the risen Christ, and he'd physically risen from the dead. Again, it's attested to by multiple sources, Christian and non-Christian, and we have especially strong historical support for Peter, James, and Paul. Yeah, for some of the apostles, we're not sure how they may have died, but we have strong support. They were generally persecuted, and specifically Peter, James, and Paul died of martyrdom. Why is this important? Because being eyewitnesses means they're in a position to know.
You just say they died of martyrdom? Okay, so that either means that they killed themselves or somebody else murked them, right? You know, martyrdom is not like, what the fuck? What does that even mean? They died of martyrdom. 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 Died of martyrdom. Love it. Whack.
To know if they had really seen those things. Seeing it in group
Hey, Mike.
settings. Yeah.
Real quick, sorry to interrupt. It looks like we've stopped at empty tomb. That's the last thing that we see on the slides.
It's not even a slide.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not sure why that is. I did test this ahead of time, I promise.
Did I realize it's a blank screen with his like bullet points in it, right? That's fucking hilarious. All right. Shift gears here. I've got a couple other videos lined up. if it works. That'll do. Fucking bullshit, bro. You know, just get drunk and put my dick out on stream. Oh.
I'm not against
Fuck.
free speech. He can say whatever he wants
Well,
to say.
but is OnlyFans free speech?
No, it's pornography.
Well, it's been ruled as being free speech.
Ruled by who? The government?
Yeah.
Yeah, the left-wing government.
Well,
The-
who else is going to rule?
Well, I-
Who else is going to rule on what a right is or isn't? You?
God. As a Christian,
Oh,
God
God.
rules our rights.
So now you
Aren't
think? So now you think there are rights? There are inherent rights. Can you point one out to me? Where are they?
not killing the commandments in the Bible? Are you not a Christian?
I'm sorry. That sounds like a duty. Can you?
Young man is terribly confused. You know, Andrew's a master debater. Now that whole shit he pulled with Matt Dillahunty, that was low. You know, I mean, it was funny, but it was low. I mean, we need to take that shit seriously, which I think you should. Just my opinion. I would have liked to have seen them have like an actual conversation, a dialogue of sorts, but it is what it is. It's fine. I fell asleep on we'll see if we can find that. I fell asleep on Speakeasy's stream last week. So we'll see if we can dig that up.
Point out one of the rights?
How do you define a right?
A right would be an entitlement absent duty.
According to who?
According to, it would be definitionally this way.
I think I agree with Andrew's definition of a right there. That's actually a perfect definition.
Can you, unless you can point to me a right which was not an entitlement, I'll wait.
The commandments are eternal rights and wrongs.
Well, that's a moral claim. That's fine. You can make a moral claim for whether it's right or wrong, but that doesn't mean that there are rights, which is a different thing than the nomenclature of right, like right turn.
But yeah, this young person is very, very confused. It's just he's not gonna get this at all. It's gonna be very frustrating.
That right is different than right, like inherent right. You would agree with that, right?
I would agree. Those two terms are different.
Right.
Yeah.
So it would be the same thing in this case when you're talking about inherent rights, right? Which right is inherent?
I would say that aligns with morality. I don't see how you're discerning between the two of those.
Yeah, morality is not a right.
Morality determines what's right or wrong, and what
Yes,
your
it determines what is right or wrong, but does not determine that there is a right to anything.
All right, I don't see how you're defining differently the right of morality and the right as inherent rights. I
Okay,
don't
well let's try this. Okay.
Because you're dumb as shit. Sorry. I don't know which is right. Exactly. But I think I know what the problem is. I think this entire family is stupid. That's like the problem. It ain't left.
When you make a moral claim, do you point to God as being the justifier of the moral claim?
Of course.
Of course. So when you talk about a right or an entitlement, which comes from God, can you point one of those out to me?
Don't kill.
Of course I was muted. This is the point where I say, y'all are both, tripping. Y'all be tripping. Your rights come from God, of course. So this is the type of conversation we're having. But just enlighten the young person. Oh, fuck, whatever. Just do your thing.
That's not a right.
Okay.
How would that be a right? That would be how would that be a right? You can be killed. Hang on.
You tell me.
You can be killed, right? So you have a duty not to kill.
Correct.
Okay, so that's not a right. Right. That's a duty.
Okay. Sure. You're playing semantics.
Well, semantics are important when you're doing a debate. This way,
Yeah,
we are very clear on what it is that we're talking about. Now, I don't.
Semantics are important when you're doing a debate, son. That's all you had to put at the end of that, son. Just be as condescending as possible. But he's not wrong. Yeah, great.
I don't mean. Listen. We got sidetracked. I agree with that, but I'm trying to make a point brought back in, which is this: that it seems to me that if you're only making the claim that your entire thing, no, it's only against OnlyFans. No, wait, I was funning. It's actually against all sex work of any kind. Oh no, I was funning about that too. It's actually against all promiscuity. Where do you draw the line? Destiny's a homosexual, promotes homosexuality. Are you saying that OnlyFans are greater sin than that? Because that would be insane. And yet, I think you would go on and do a debate with him.
I think this is the best part of the argument, though. Andrew rules. Yeah, he's pretty solid most of the time, but this part of the argument is great because he's like telling this young person that they would be immoral to debate Destiny because Destiny is one of the gays. Hold on, I just realized there's something wrong here. Figured out what it was. Yeah, so it's immoral for this young Christian man to go debate one of the gays. Apparently. Even though I think Destiny is like bi, and they're pretty hot, like OnlyFans girlfriend or something like that. So they're just like jealous. This nerdy looking dude streams from his apartment or whatever fucking actually gets some decent play. Although I have heard some well, we'll not talk about that today, but I've heard tell that he's done some shady dirty shit too. But I don't get involved in all that fucking drama. We got our own drama over here. It's taking me a minute, but I'm fixing this problem. There's a thing going on I just noticed. So, yeah. OCD or something. Just hurry it along, man. See how bad that is. That's not too bad. It's good because my feetsies are cold. What in the fucking shit? Alright. I'm not gonna get upset. It's whatever. Yeah, just watch this while this hopefully loads up. And fuck everything.
Him tomorrow on the whatever podcast, even if they put his link in the bio. And that seems very hypocritical to me, and I really would wish that you would justify this.
As long as there's no sexual links, I'll go on.
As long as there's no sexual links.
That's been my position from the beginning.
Yeah, but why? Degeneracy is degenerate.
I'm for free speech. I'm against pornography. I don't think pornography is free speech, no matter who says it is.
Yeah, but who are you to make that determination?
But they're not showing pornography in this fucking scenario. Like, Like, but they can't have links to his shit. That's fucking hilarious. You don't even know what's on there. Like, it could be porn, but I've heard people do other things on OnlyFans besides porn.
How is pornography free speech?
How's homosexuality and the expression thereof free speech?
Homosexuality is a sexuality. It has nothing to do with speech.
It doesn't have anything to do with speech?
Homosexuality has to do with speech.
Yeah. Yes. Well, the First Amendment's not just about speech, right? The First Amendment is about freedom of expression, and this is how it's ruled. Correct? So gay marriage in church is part of a First Amendment adherence platform. So when you're talking about degeneracy, sexuality is every bit as degenerate as OnlyFans from your own worldview. And this guy has literally said on
Oh, it's just terrible. So, and now you can't even debate this guy, right? Because like, if you were to debate this guy and he's, promoting his degeneracy, peace and respect, Richard. Good morning. Yeah.
on stream that he sucks men's dicks, and you would go on and debate with him? Really?
I have to play it again. The Andrew's whole demeanor there, just amazing. Take a close look.
OnlyFans from your own worldview, and this guy has literally said on stream that he sucks men's dicks, and you would go on and debate with him? Really? That's where we draw the line. At least you just have booby pics. I know he sucks men's cocks, but at least he doesn't have booby pics. That's fucking stupid, bro.
Listen, I'm not here to like talk behind another man's back because I'm a grown man. I'm just here to criticize.
I'm not saying anything which is not publicly available knowledge that he himself put out.
That was great. I'm not here to talk behind other men's backs because I'm a grown man. That was actually, it was almost a good comeback. I mean, the delivery was lacking a bit, but sucks men's dicks.
Destiny has an entire stream about how he sucks men's dicks.
I don't care.
Okay, I know you don't, but here's the thing: are you here to talk behind women's backs? Like you don't know if they have an OnlyFans or not until they come out and tell you that they do, and that's when you give them ideological pushback.
Your OnlyFans, whatever sexual content you have, we're not promoting it, but you're more than welcome to come on and stand for your worldview.
Yeah. But you would be promoting, whatever would still be promoting the platform of pro-degeneracy, even absent the OnlyFans. So Why do you draw this arbitrary line between that form of degeneracy and this other one? That makes no sense.
One has a link directly to their sexual content, and one is something they're just saying.
Both
you bring
have a link. Both have a
One of-
link.
Amazing, amazing. Good morning, Captain Dusk. Good morning, Silver Wolf. Good to see you. Sorry, Fred. Dr. Mordecai in his thumbnail. No. I do get a lot of my information from President Sunday. Very, very knowledgeable streamer. You don't know. Hope you all are having a beautiful Saturday morning. 6:31 in the AM here. I woke up entirely too early this morning. Didn't go back to bed. Here we are.
You might be wondering why I've gone insane. Well, let me tell you. He's done it again. Moin Rabbani is responding to a response. We have another thread. Another murder. Now let us party like unto a 1948. Thread, Stephen Bonnell, stage name Destiny, responded to my previous thread with a series of his own tweets. True to form, it contained more juvenile name-calling, cowardly fuck, quote-unquote. Disgusting human, quote-unquote. Sniveling worm, quote-unquote, etc. Regarding the issue of genocide, he appears to have appointed himself the resident expert on the phenomenon.
So yeah, you get the gist here. These people are both nuts in different ways. We're all just nuts in different ways. But I know what you meant.
Quote, how can you idiots... Wait, no, it's Destiny. Hang on. How can you idiots claim to be scholars or have strong opinions about genocide while still refusing to understand this term, dolo specialis. Stop talking about this. You are not qualified. Jesus. Fucking loser. Unquote. In point of fact, regarding this particular term, my previous thread referenced, in addition to my own understanding of it, the views of Bonnell, Norman Finkelstein, an international lawyer involved in cases before the International Court of Justice, and of Francesca Albanese, the author of a recent report on genocide for the UN Human Rights Council. Whether or not Finkelstein and I understand this term and its role in determining genocide can therefore easily be assessed. On the subject of understanding terms, Bonnell doubles down on insisting that Jim Crow in the United States did not constitute apartheid. In his words, quote, Jim Crow in the U.S. wasn't apartheid because people could travel, among other things. And segregation wasn't done top-down constitutionally and federally, but rather geographically throughout the
Oh boy. You know what I need in my life today?
He wants to know about God and about giants and dragons. And all that. They refuse to discuss it too. I've been blocked everywhere there. I've been blocked on virtually every channel there is, and it's just, and I can't understand it. I cannot understand the human mind anymore. It's just totally lost. And then, of course, there's the giant hair follicle, and there's where the erector pili.
Of course, there's this giant hair follicle. Roger just provides so much comic relief. Nobody does.
U.S. with a collection of local restrictions and policies. You're utterly clueless, unquote. In fact, and as noted in my previous thread, quote, Jim Crow was a formal system of rigidly enforced segregation in the United States, imposed by state authority, enforced by legislation and violence, and confirmed by the U.S. Supreme Court, unquote. By the way, there's a problem with insisting that apartheid has to be federal, partially because the federal government presumes that you have a federal level of government, which involves a federation of smaller units, right?
It's just peekaboo. Oh. Me personally, I'm just not gonna let the motherfucker in if he's drunk. I have to worry about what I'm fucking doing. So that's what other people would be doing. So. Motherfucker tried to fucking do some nasty shit on my stream last night. I beat him with a punch though. Fucking assholes. You some nasty motherfucker. Okay. There we are. You didn't catch it. Very end of last night's stream. That was good fun. No? What the dickens? There we go. Corey Fluxtra's video there. Okay, it's registering now. That was King Corey Fluxtra. Hmm? Oh no. Greetings and salutations. You're muted. Richard. I cannot hear you. Okay. And just when you think it's safe. Shit. Motherfucker. That shit's just in the nick of time. Just in the nick of time. You don't know the horrendous things I had to see. Crazy. People be crazy. Well, I hear it's 420, a holiday for stoners. Also, might be an evil dictator's birthday. I don't know. I think that's true. Let me fact check it right now. It is true. Yeah. It was also Hitler's birthday. Coincidence? I don't know. No, that was not you, Richard Madsen. That was a funny person from last night. Yeah, I knew it wasn't you. I was like, that would be really unusual, and so it was. So it was. That's what you get when you're floating around the internet, fishing for these funny folks. So yeah, I wasn't sure whether or not anything bad got displayed on screen, but luckily we avoided that. So the video is safe. Just had that unfortunate audio bite. Yeah, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. They tried to pop in with another song, like just right after that too. They popped in, bombed me, hopped out, and then they tried to hop right back in. So, good times are had by all. All right, well, I suppose I will end this stream with a bang. We can come back to the other videos later. I've got to get some shit done. So, y'all have a wonderful Saturday morning. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Be well and be trusty, and I'll see you later.
I'm an ape. We all come from apes, but I don't throw ape in every conversation. Use ape to define myself. Use ape as an excuse to defecate in my thumbless mitt and then hurl it at you. I'm sorry, did I just splatter you with wet